safer world is possible, and together we can and will make it happen. Thank you.
When you show up in community, you find that group that makes you feel like home, but oftentimes you also find yourself again.
Paul's in Croydon. Paul, what's he done wrong?
Yeah, hi again, James, how are you? He hasn't done anything wrong per se, but I can only talk from my point of view, and it's horrible timing because I was talking to a researcher, and by the time it finished, I thought, oh no, am I an ogre? Maybe I should just put the phone down. Prince Harry, for me personally, is like collateral damage for my own personal cynicism of celebs, people who I guess are celebrities, and I guess he is now a celebrity. Now he's not a royal. That makes sense.
Not really. It doesn't. I mean, he's still Prince.
Prince. So that's cool.
He's a prince. I guess that's a fairly. I mean, he's not a formal member of the royal family, but let's say he is someone who's managed to achieve profile, whether through birth or career.
Whatever glow is bestowed upon him, lucky him. I just don't want to hear it anymore. After the year I've had, I think people have had, me personally, I just can't.
Did you have well, just to check what it is you're saying. So when we did our when we marked Mental Health Awareness Week a moment ago with Shirley Bassey, Joanna Lumley, Charles Dance, David Beckham, Jesse Lingard, Jamie Oliver, Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and Anne Marie, did that stick in your craw as well?
No, because
why not? They're celebrities.
Because they're offering a service. I understand that, but
they were reading out a
like
poem.
Said,
this fella's talking about his own pain.
Yeah, but his pain can be subsided slightly, although everyone's pain...
He's talked about how he achieved that.
I should finish my sentence. Everyone's pain could be... his pain can be subsided slightly, but everyone's pain is important, including his.
Yes, but he's talked about his in the hope of helping other people deal with theirs, and he's talked about overcoming his, or subsiding, which is... I don't know that that's a word in this context, but he's talked about overcoming his. Let me finish my sentence. He's talked about overcoming his, and you're complaining about other people who haven't overcome theirs.
No.
What exactly is it then, in a sentence? So I say, what's he done wrong? And you say, he talks too much about his pain, and because other people have got pain, that gets on my nerves.
I think, in a sentence, I am slightly tired of celebrities, if the word is virtue signalling, or offering
How can
their
it be
services
virtue signalling to talk about being in an Apache helicopter in Afghanistan, being chased by the paparazzi?
Sometimes possibly innocent people, for context.
Pardon?
You say in an Apache helicopter.
Do you know what, Paul, mate?
Working.
You know that when you were waiting to come on and you thought maybe I should have hung up the phone?
Well, he did. I'm sure he did shoot people.
I think you should have trusted your instincts.
Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to Sussexful. I'm your host, Emma. Before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share Sussexful with all Sussex supporters around the world. Now, on today's video, we're diving into another powerful moment on LBC, where James O'Brien takes on a caller who claims Prince Harry is virtue signaling. This conversation reveals just how deeply misunderstood Harry's journey has become. While some criticize him for speaking about mental health, others, like us, recognize the courage it takes for a man born into privilege to admit that pain and struggle don't discriminate. James handles this call brilliantly, calm, logical, and razor-sharp, exposing how ignorance thrives when people believe tabloid lies. Prince Harry isn't seeking sympathy. He's showing that even a prince can hurt, heal, and grow. Rich or poor, we all face battles. His honesty helps countless others realize they're not alone. And that's what true strength looks like. So grab a cup of tea, and let's get into this fascinating exchange that perfectly captures why so many people admire James O'Brien, and why Prince Harry's voice still matters. Prince Harry's perspective on mental health and personal struggles reveals a nuanced narrative that transcends traditional royal expectations, challenging the conventional wisdom about privilege and vulnerability. While critics argue that his public disclosures represent a form of self-serving exposure, there's a deeper underlying mechanism at play, a deliberate attempt to destigmatize mental health discussions by demonstrating that psychological challenges do not discriminate based on social status or wealth. By openly sharing his own experiences, Harry effectively communicates that emotional pain and psychological healing are universal human experiences, irrespective of one's background or societal standing. His willingness to expose personal vulnerabilities, despite potential criticism and familial tension, suggests a profound commitment to raising awareness about mental health challenges and providing a relatable platform for individuals who might feel isolated in their own struggles. The caller launched a scathing critique of Prince Harry's mental health advocacy, painting it as nothing more than performative virtue signaling from a privileged royal who lacks authentic understanding of real-world struggles. By suggesting Harry's privileged upbringing disqualifies him from meaningful discourse on mental health, the caller essentially undermines the very vulnerability Harry has sought to champion. Despite Harry's attempts to normalize conversations about psychological well-being, this critical voice argues that his move to California and subsequent public criticisms of the royal family fundamentally invalidate his message, portraying his speaking out as a calculated media strategy rather than genuine concern for broader mental health awareness. Prince Harry has really emerged as a powerful advocate for mental health awareness by, courageously showing that psychological struggles can touch anyone, no matter their social status or privilege. By being so open about his own challenges, he sends a pretty compelling message that even royalty can face some profound emotional difficulties, which helps normalize conversations about mental wellness for folks from all walks of life. His decision to step back from traditional royal responsibilities and move to California, well, it really stands out as an act of self-preservation and healing. It shows just how transformative personal boundaries and taking charge of your mental health can be. More importantly, Harry's openness about his internal struggles acts not just as a public statement, but as a deeply personal way of working through his experiences, and at the same time, it offers hope and validation to others dealing with similar emotional complexities. The caller's understanding, honestly, is just a toxic mix of manufactured outrage, carefully brewed from the most sensationalist tabloid stories. By consuming nothing but those trashy papers and hanging on every word from awful reporters, they've basically turned into a walking megaphone for pre-scripted talking points, always ready to scream and yell with a kind of ferocity that really shows a total lack of nuanced understanding. Their anger becomes this performative spectacle, wildly misdirected at Harry's efforts to expose the monarchy's internal bullying, and honestly, it reveals more about their own psychological projection than any real concern for royal protocol or family dynamics. Prince Harry's use of his royal title is, well, a pretty calculated media strategy that serves both his personal narrative and his financial interests. Even though he's benefited a whole lot from the royal family's financial support and their efforts to rehabilitate his public image, like during the notorious Halloween scandal, Harry still leverages his princely status as a big megaphone for his personal grievances. His constant use of the royal title gives him a platform to attract global media attention, letting him broadcast personal controversies and criticisms of the monarchy, all while making money through high-profile interviews, documentaries, and publishing deals. The real irony here is that Harry denounces royal institutions while, at the same time, strategically taking advantage of the very title and recognition those institutions gave him in the first place. While family disputes are best kept behind closed doors, there's a really compelling argument that Harry's public discourse about mental health serves a much broader purpose in society. Just having access to substantial financial resources doesn't, take away the very real psychological challenges folks might face, no matter their socioeconomic status. His willingness to openly discuss mental health struggles, even from a place of privilege, potentially destigmatizes these conversations for countless individuals who might otherwise feel isolated or even ashamed of their own internal battles. The fact that a prince, someone seemingly at the very top of societal advantage, can candidly speak about needing emotional support, well, it sends a powerful message that mental health challenges truly transcend wealth, title, and social standing. The caller's claims against Harry and Meghan, honestly, they just epitomize a breathtaking level of baseless ignorance that really defies logical scrutiny. With these sweeping generalizations and a complete lack of any real understanding, this individual just spews rhetoric that reveals way more about their own limitations than any meaningful critique of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Their argument is so fundamentally flawed and devoid of nuance that it becomes almost comical, like a textbook example of how uninformed opinions can masquerade as legitimate commentary. The caller doesn't just miss the point, they're so profoundly disconnected from reality that they can't even articulate a coherent argument, instead just resorting to scattered emotional outbursts that demonstrate nothing more than a remarkable inability to comprehend the complexities of personal struggle and public discourse. James O'Brien's technique for exposing flawed thinking, well, it's really a nuanced dance of intellectual precision. By maintaining this remarkably calm demeanor, he strategically poses what seem like simple questions that, bit by bit, unravel the caller's illogical arguments. His genius isn't in aggressive confrontation, but in creating a space where the caller is kinda compelled to follow their own reasoning to its inevitable, often absurd conclusion. Through gentle yet incisive questioning, O'Brien allows individuals to hear the hollowness of their own rhetoric, causing them to stumble and, eventually, recognize the fundamental weaknesses in their position. This approach transforms the radio show from just a platform of debate into a powerful moment of self-reflection, where callers are confronted with the uncomfortable truth of their own uninformed perspectives. In the face of such baseless criticism, James O'Brien's masterful approach of methodically dismantling the caller's argument really reveals the profound ignorance underlying their attack on Prince Harry. By calmly and logically probing the caller's claims, O'Brien exposes the hollow nature of their argument, showing that the perspective is rooted not in fact, but in misplaced anger and media-driven misconceptions. The caller's attempt to vilify Harry for speaking about mental health just betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of the importance of destigmatizing personal struggles, no matter someone's social status or background. O'Brien's skill lies in his ability to make the caller recognize the inherent contradiction in their own reasoning, ultimately highlighting that criticism born of ignorance serves no constructive purpose and only perpetuates harmful societal attitudes towards mental health and personal growth.